Hey everybody, this is the development of the work guide number 2, corresponding to the elective impact of the commercial agreement of the University and in the following presentation we will discuss the free trade agreement between the Republic of Colombia and the United Mexican State. We will know your background, your negotiation process, your business relationship. We will talk about the issues negotiated in the agreement. We will show data corresponding to the services negotiated and your logistic performance index. Objectives: encourage expansion and diversification in both countries, eliminate barriers to trade and facilitate the circulation of goods and services, substantially increasing investment opportunities, promote conditions of fair competition in trade between countries, protect intellectual property rights. Historical background: in October of 1989, the first meeting of the Rio occurred. Mexico, Colombia, and Venezuela agreed to accelerate the economic integration and harmonization of their macroeconomic policies. In 1990, the creation of the Free Trade Zone by the three countries was defined. Beginning of June 13, 1994, when the Free Trade Agreement of the G3, composed of Venezuela, Colombia, and Mexico, was signed and entered into force. On January 1st, 1995, the treaty is celebrated under the character of Economic Complementation Agreement. On March 22, 2006, Venezuela decided to make a complaint and abandon the agreement and start to enjoy the Mercosur. In August 2009, and after 2 years of negotiation, Colombia and Mexico finalized the work of adapting the FTA and signed 5 decisions, containing a modification protocol referring to market access, the adjustment to the rules of origin, the regional committee of inputs, the additional powers of the Administrative Commission, the name change of the treaty. This typing of the agreement is effective as of August 2, 2011. Important opening of markets for goods and services and establishes clear and transparent rules and trade and investment, contemplating a tariff reduction program for most of the tariff universe in the period of the 10 years, including most of the agriculture sector. Products and services. The free and agile trade on services in the region will be ensured. Commitment to the future to deepen and free the service sectors. Basic principles. National treatment must favor national treatment and no mandatory local presence. It covers all services except for government functions. Commercial services and financial services are also included from the application of the principles of this chapter. There is an X that establishes the producer for holding negotiation for the recognition of professional titles and license. In this charter, we want to see the rebate programming. It consists in progressively elimination its important position of original goods in 10 equal stages. The tariff elimination from the industrial sector. The tariff universe will be reduced in a period of 10 years. The agriculture and automobile sector has a special treatment. The automotive sector divides the rebate program in 2 parts, applies rules of origin. The agriculture sector acts to new markets, internal support measure, choose as export subsidy, which finishes at the end of the rebate. phytosanitary and zoosanitary, domestic animal, wildlife, and animal or vegetable who or its byproduct contaminate pesticide, veterinary medicine, scientific information, protection of the life of the animal, and human health.
As a result of the TLC between Colombia and Mexico, we can mention the following strength and commercial alliance result of the same: rebate program, automotive sector, access to market, agricultural sector, phytosanitary measures, rules of origins, safeguards, unfair international trade practices, trade in services, financial services, temporary entry of business people, technical standards, investment, intellectual property.
The telecommunication sector, all transmission, emission, or reception of signal, intra-company communication or public transport and network, and financial service. The establishment of financial institutions of the other parties is allowed. Each country receives the management of monetary policy and world chains. The application of prudential measures is allowed to ensure the stability of the financial system. The financial service commitment and hereby established, which will supervise the application of the Charter. Temporary entry of business people. There are established principles that facilitate the temporary entry of business people without implying the modification of labor and migratory laws, including the category of business visitor, investor, or intra-company staff. Technical standards. It incorporates disciplines and general principles for the elaboration and application of the standard and certificate processes for goods and services, and especially subcommand they will administrate special commandments to adequately protect human, animal, and plant health and safety, and our environment. We have here the exportation from Colombia to Mexico. That's a kind of the product for group in different sectors of the exportation from Colombia to Mexico. The years is the 2016, 2017 on to 2018, October of 2018. This is the millions on the dollars, because it's the money for the business, and here is the millions for the kilograms netos on the export from Colombia to Mexico in one of those years. Here we have the Colombian import from Mexico. This is the main products Colombia to import from Mexico. This is where we have the main products. For example, the automobile from Turismo is that the transportation people, only for transportation people, like buses, vans, and this is where we compare it to from 2016 on to 2018. That's the participation from the Colombian import from Mexico. The other one, the other products, for example, is screen and projects. Another one main products is like the oil, and for example, automatic machine, the process, data process. That's in the telecommunication products. The products and services, they are applied to protect the domestic industry against increasing imports and conditions or quantities that cause or threaten to cause serious damage as a result on the application of the tariff reduction program with the following characteristics. They will be of the tariff nature. They will have a maximum duration of the 1 year, established by more, and bilateral measure may only be applied during the period of transmission to free trade, plus 5 years of 15 years after the entry into force of the treaty. A clear compensation producer is defined to about the unjustified use and the safeguard for protection purpose, the right to adopt emergency measure under Article 19 of the GATT is preserved. This safeguard is mostly in the specific products. In this free trade agreement, the following agro-food products have been excluded: coffee, bananas, sugar, tobacco, and cocoa.
Criteria applied by an importing country to determine the origin of the good. The rules of origin are the criteria applied by an importing country to determine the origin of the good. The base of tariff classification is the harmonized system. The determination of the transaction value of a good or material shall be made in accordance with the principles of customs valuation code. This means that to help promote the use of regional resources from the region, there is an elimination of tariffs that will apply to goods produced entirely in the region, goods with materials comply with the tariff change and or comply with the original content requirement. The regional content value requirement is 55% under the transaction value method, except for chemicals, metalworking, machinery and equipment, and electronics, whose regional content will be 50%. There's an integration named Committee of Regional Input Integration that has been used in Colombia for the textile and clothing sector. This same integration is used to evaluate the capacity of supply of supplies. This is focused for the specific rules of origin of the chemical and plastics, textile, copper, and aluminum sectors. This tells us that between these two countries, they want at least half of the product to be made in the region or by regional products.
Logistics. The Logistics Performance Index, LPA, is the weighted average of the country score, and here is at the 6 key dimensions: efficiency of the clearance process, and speed, simplicity, and predictable of formalities by border control agency, including custom, quality of trade, and transport-related infrastructure, port, railroads, roads, information technology, ease of arranging competitive prices and shipments, competence and quality of logistics service, the transporting operates custom brokers, ability to track on trace, consignments, timeline on shipments and reaching destination within the schedule of spec delivery time. That's the important topic in the free trade, because it's how is the shipping, how is the time, how long it's gonna take the delivery. Is one of the most important items in the FTA. Here in this square we compare Mexico to Colombia. We can see the how is the rank in the logistic performance index around the world. Mexico is in the 53 place rank, and Colombia is 71. Here's the score they have to for the logistic, the infrastructure, the international shipping, the logistic competence, the tracking and transit, and the times. Those numbers they show us like how is which country is better in logistic. Here in this scorecard we can see how is Mexico between Colombia, uh, and Logistic Performance Index. For example, in international shipments, Mexico is better than Colombia. In tracing, Colombia is better. And in timelines, Mexico is they have a better infrastructure. It's gonna be better. Uh, this kind of the situation they search like everything gonna be exactly the same for both countries. That's the like the result. Then the free trade. This is the comparison between Colombia and Mexico. How is the logistic and numbers? This is numbers as like the transportation time, like the how long in distance is the exportation between Colombia and Mexico, and how long is going to be in time. This is the, for example, the number of the agencies they have in exportation, or they have in imports when export. Um, the physical inspection, how long gonna take, or the declaration submit, and the process electronically and online. It's like how long gonna take this kind of the process. Here is the participation in internal logistics between Colombia and Mexico. Is how is the which country inside his logistic. We can see here how it's reflected. For example, in Mexico is better than Colombia and infrastructure for road uh, and maritime transport too is better Mexico than Colombia, because it's the 50% that participate inside his logistic. Uh, but for other side, Colombia is better in agencies and forwards and brokers and different stuff. This inside Colombia is better than Mexico in internal logistics. Here we can see how is reflected the issues with the process between Colombia and Mexico, the efficiency of the process for the training.
Initially, the agreement was made up Colombia, Venezuela, and Mexico, but the president of Venezuela decides not to continue. For this reason, Mexico and Colombia began negotiations again to relaunch and deepen the bilateral FTA. The amendment protocol of the FTA, which incorporates the result of these negotiations, was signed by the commercial authorities of both countries after the opposition of the agricultural sector of Mexico, which argued possible displacement of Mexican products such as beef, boneless, and dairy products, as well as dispute over the risk of foot and mouth disease. The signature treaty basis of the corresponding legislative bodies. The result of the negotiation was reflected in 5 decisions of the Treaty Administering Commission, and these are found in the modifying protocol of the treaty subscribed by commercial authorities of both countries. The changes were adaptation of the name on the treaty, functions of the Administrative Commission, inclusion of some agricultural products and industrial products, modification of roles, and improvement of the operation. This table contains the name and address of the main organizations and institutions, Colombian and Mexican publics involved in the support and promotion of foreign trade.
Case of success in TLC between Mexico and Colombia. The innovation of Mexico is today one of the most dynamic in Latin America. Proof of these are the innumerable success history that emerged from it. One of the companies that has beat on Mexico in its first international incursion is the successful rapid delivery phase cash advance platform, which started its operation at the local level in August 2015. It is a case of success born in Colombia and shared thanks to the agreement and benefits offered in the TLC. After having achieved a great recognition in Colombia, its founder, Simon Borrero, decided to take the lead and bring rugby to a market as competitive as the Mexican where they are already beginning to figure strongly. This is a non-isolated case, since the free platform of anonymous medical consultation and Answer 1.3, the learning company Tarifa, the online influencer system Fluid, and Mensajeros Urbanos, also chose Mexico as its first international market.